Hi, good evening, and welcome to the first year parent workshop hosted by the Office of Freshman Studies. I am Veronique George, the Digital Marketing and Media Specialist at FAMU, and I have the honor of serving as your moderator. Tonight, leaders across campus will share important information as the university moves forward with fall plans. The workshop will feature Chief Calloway, Ms. Tanya Tatum, Dr. Jennifer Wilder, Mr. Michael Smith, Ms. Carrie Brown, Ms. Karita Evans, Dr. DeAndrea Cotton, and Dr. Anika Fields. We'll begin with Chief Calloway as he talks to us about campus safety.
Good evening to all. I wanted to give you at least a little update about the Department of Campus Safety and Security and Parking Services. Our police department is a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week police department. We are fully functional to uphold the laws of the state of Florida, as Tallahassee Police Department, Leon County Police Department is as well. Also, we provide additional services for our students. Like the first year student, or all students get to park on campus. They don't have to pay a registration fee. It's already included, but they have to be very careful where they park. There's very designated parking spaces for our students. So a little bit about our police department. Right now, we're an accredited organization. And what the accreditation does for us is gives us gold standards. It gives us liability, eliminates some of the liability, I should say, and also makes us, the top of the peak in terms of policing, parking, safety, things of that nature. We're currently accredited under two bodies, the Florida Accreditation and the ICALEA. ICALEA accreditation, which is International Association of Campus Law Enforcement Administrators, makes Florida A&M University the only HBCU in the country to have that privilege of being accredited by ICALEA. And we're also working on our CALEA accreditation, which is in some words, the granddaddy of them all. Once we ascertain that, we're hoping to ascertain that accreditation in November. Once we ascertain that, we will be the only HBCU in the country that has 3 accrediting bodies under their belt. So that's why it's important for us to become accredited. Also, some of the crime preventions, you can go to the next slide. Next slide. There we go. Some of the crime prevention programs that the police department offers is our College Crime Watch, our Operation ID, where we give students an opportunity to, they can stamp their items such as their laptops, their television. They can put something engraved on there that only they, I should say, can identify. And if it does come up stolen, we can track that through different aspects in the city of Tallahassee. We have a campaign to eliminate drunk driving, where we do various things to kind of inform students of what drunk driving is, how you can avoid that. We have travel safety tips that we send out regularly. Self-defense awareness, which is RAD. It gives the students, females in particular, an opportunity to take this course and beat up on police at no cost. We also have a motor assistance program. We have a student escort team that we're very proud of. This student escort team is comprised of our own students, and our students like to call it the FAMU Uber. So what ultimately happens is there's an app, the students go on this app, they can request a ride on campus, and we will come pick them up, not we, but the student escort team, which is comprised of students, like I said, they will come pick them up. They utilize an older police car that we've taken the lights and the sirens out. So I don't want anyone thinking that we're allowing students to ride in our police cars with lights and sirens. But they go pick up the students, they drop the students off. But it's very important to know that we only do rides on campus. So we don't want students going to Walmart asking, can we come pick them up? Because we don't do that aspect of it. But our student escort team has also helped us cut down on crime. When we can pick up someone as opposed to them walking from one spot to another. And not that our campus isn't safe, but what drives crime is the opportunity. So we try to eliminate the opportunity to remind the opportunistic people that we're not tolerating the crime on our campus. So our crime right now is the lowest it's been since 2000, and we're very proud of that. We also have a Live Safe app, and this app allows students to keep in touch with one another, allows them to send stuff anonymously to the police department. And it's just a really good app that they can utilize at no cost. We also have a crime prevention through environmental design program. We have the campus light assessment program. We do crime prevention workshops with housing. We do it with different OSA, SGA, different groups. And we also go to the dorms and do safety talks with students. You can go to the next slide. So we have an emergency alert system, which is Blackboard Connect. And what we encourage students to do is go to the FAMU main page website, scroll all the way down. On the right, you'll see something that says Blackboard Connect. Once you click on that, don't download it. Just go to it and it'll send you an email telling you how to go about doing that. Once you get an opportunity to do that, any text messages, emails that we send out from the police department in regards to weather, any crime that may or may not occur on our campus, anything that we feel can keep our faculty, staff, and students safe, we want to make sure that they're notified. But also we have 72 blue light phones throughout the campus. We're adding an additional 7. So students will have an opportunity if they're walking across campus and they see something or they just don't feel safe, they can hit that blue light phone and it rings right to the police department. With that, we're able to talk to the students. There are cameras on the phone so we can see what's taking place. And we encourage students to utilize this in the event that they are in some type of danger. We also have 730 cameras, closed circuit television cameras on our campus. So whatever a student is doing, we will be able to watch them. We have cameras in places we didn't know we were putting them. But these cameras allow us to see things. Just the other day, we was able to utilize the cameras for someone has stolen something. We were able to utilize the cameras and make an arrest in that situation. But we have 730 cameras. We also have access control on all doors, or most of the doors we're putting it on, I should say. This gives us an opportunity in the event there's an active shooter, we can lock the doors remotely. We also have license plate readers on our car, or on our campus, I should say, and they're at every main entrance of the campus. So you can't get on our campus and you can't get off our campus without a license plate reader seeing your plate. So this helps us as well to kind of reduce our crime as well. You can go to the next slide. So we have mutual aid agreements with various police departments from a state aspect, FDLE, Florida Highway Patrol, State Supreme Court, Fish and Wildlife. We have mutual aid agreements with all of those. Locally, Tallahassee, Leon County, Florida State, and Tallahassee Community College. With that, if something arises, we are able to call them and they're there to help us in a heartbeat. And we appreciate that agreement that we have and the partnerships that we have with the various law enforcement agencies throughout Leon County. You can go to the next slide. Also, we have something what we call the Clery Act, and every university and college in the country has to adhere to these rules and regulations of the Jenny Clery Act. And what that is there's certain crimes that falls under the Jenny Clery Act. And what we are responsible for is to make sure that we have this information documented, that we are sending out emergency alerts and notifications to our students. We also have something that's called campus security authorities. And when a student has the opportunity to speak with certain people, those people are delegated as campus security authorities. Teachers, coaches, provosts, assistant provosts, all of those people, they're obligated to report what this student says if it has something to do under the Clery Act. So we want to make sure the students understand what that is. We want to make sure that they know what it is, and it's due October the 1st, where we compile all this information, put it in a big packet, and we send it to the Department of Education. If we found to be non-compliant with some of the things that Clery asks, there could be a possibility that our university could get fined. You can go to the next slide. And these are some of the crimes that falls under the Clery Act: homicide, sexual offense, aggravated assault, burglary, robbery, stolen vehicles, arson. We also had what's on there for, hate crimes, larceny, theft, simple assault, intimidation, vandalism, things of that nature. You can go to the next slide. So here's some things that, we do with the Clery Act. We report all crimes on campus that falls under that. And if a crime takes place off campus, we will do the police report, an information report, but we will follow up with either the county or the city to make sure that our students are getting the best support, the best policing that they can possibly ascertain, I should say. It just gives a little facts about what CSAs are, what they're obligated to do. And if a student feels that they were sexually assaulted and they want to go to a CSA and have a conversation with this CSA, please know that the CSA will be responsible for reporting this to us. And the next slide. And at the end, we just want you, if you see something, say something. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Calloway. Next, we'll have Ms. Tanya Tatum with Student Health Services. Next, we'll have Ms. Tanya Tatum with Student Health Services. All right. We're going to move right along with Dr. Jennifer Wilder with the Housing Office at FAMU.
Good evening. What you see on the screen right now is our facility profile for each of our buildings and the rental rate for fall 2020. The rate is from August 24th through November 25th, as that is the day we will be closing for the semester. And so it is by building. If you could scroll down on the screen a little bit so they can see. No, okay. Oh, it's not showing. You can't see the whole thing. The rates are different per building, so that's why it's by building. If you can't see it here, if you go to our website, the rental rate page is also up there. Next slide, please. What you see here is our move-in guide for our move-in days. Our move-in days will be from August 14th through August 22nd this year. We are spreading out our move-in and check-in process to make sure that we are practicing CDC guidelines for social distancing. And so this information was emailed to all of our students. It's also on our website. And what we want you to do is sign up for a particular date and time, and students need to show up on their particular date and time that was approved for them. Students can only have 2 people come help them move in. I know some of you have younger children, whatever, but it can only be 2 people. This is because we are trying to practice CDC, follow the CDC guidelines for move in and to get people in a timely manner. So when you come, the students will check in outside. They will get their keys, and then you will unload the car, move their stuff in, and move your car so that we can keep this process moving. There are only a limited number of time slots for each day and time for each building. So please adhere to this. We also have provided a list of what to bring. And in terms of moving, we suggest that if you have your own dolly, moving things to help with moving, that you bring those. It will be very limited to what we can provide this year. And also because of the amount of time it would take to sanitize between usage, we encourage you to bring your own. Students and the two people helping them must wear face coverings when they're in the building. That is required. And students are required to wear face coverings whenever they are in the public areas of the buildings. They can only take them off within the privacy of their own room. But the list is very extensive. It tells you what you can bring, what you can't, in terms of sheets, which should be extra long twin sheets. And then make sure you follow the directional signs for getting around campus. We also have on there what not to bring. So I know people are really into air fryers and those kinds of things, hot plates, toaster ovens, those things are not allowed. So please adhere to the list. Thank you. Next slide. These are ways that you can connect with University Housing. Our phone number is 850-599-3651. Our website is www.famu.edu/housing. Our email address is famuhousing@famu.edu, and you can follow us on social media. Other things that parents might want to know about our residence halls: our laundry machines are card reader only. Our vending machines are cash and card readers. And if a student runs out of money on their card, they can refresh it at the Rattler card office, which I'm sure Business and Auxiliary Services will talk about later. If you have questions, right now the best way to contact us is to send us an email. There are several people checking the email and we will respond. If you call the office, please leave a message if you cannot get through. If you do get through, please write down who you talk to so that if you have a concern later on, we can follow up. We do our best to answer questions in a timely manner. And this week, as we promised, we will be sending out room assignments tomorrow, July 31st. So we've been very busy finishing up assignments so that we can get those out. But your student can check by going to the website and go to the housing website, application and assignments process, click on book/view. And then they will put in their credentials and they will be able to see for themselves if they've been assigned a room. It will also tell them if they're in an apartment or a suite, who their suite mate is. I'm saying apartment and suite because this year all our rooms are singles, so there are no double rooms for this academic year. Next page. Okay, I'll turn it back over to Veronique.
Thank you, Dr. Wilder. Next, we'll have Mr. Michael Smith and Mr. Kerry Brown talking about meal plans, dining services, and Rattler cards.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Michael Smith, and I serve as the Director for Finance and Administration for Business and Auxiliary Services. And on behalf of Rebecca Brown, our Assistant Vice President for Finance and Administration, I would like to share information about the role of Business and Auxiliary Services, aka BAS, to the campus community. We have a video for you to see who we are. I'll let that video tell a story.
Business and Auxiliary Services, one of the hidden jewels of Florida A&M University, working tirelessly every day to ensure our mission of excellence with caring. Whether it's laundry, dining, vending, the bookstore, or Rattler Card Services, Business and Auxiliary Services manages it and makes it efficient. FAMU students love to eat, and we love to make it happen. We renovated the Student Services Center lobby and atrium and renovated the food court, giving it new floors, walls, gaming stations, new comfy seating, and accent furniture, and we added 123 seats to the main dining hall, also a new catering kitchen with state-of-the-art prep space and an administrative suite. We also introduced new food concepts such as AFC Sushi, the Chopping Block, Poblanos, and the Wandering Chef food truck serving a variety of tasty cuisine. Our partners also showed their appreciation by improving their services. FAMU is the first university in the country to have a new Chick-fil-A order and pay kiosk. And our dining services provider, Metz Culinary Management, donated $5 million to FAMU for capital investments and other discretionary uses. Business and Auxiliary Services also provided over $300,000 in meal plan waivers to programs such as the Army and Navy ROTC Scholarship Program. We keep it healthy and partnered with Student Health Services, Metz Culinary Management, Health and Physical Education, the Recreation Center, and Partnership for a Healthier America by hosting Healthy Campus Week, and the Community Walking Program at Al Lawson Center, breast cancer awareness, and other healthy initiatives. Always with an eye on the campus setting and the environment, over the last 3 years, we offered up to $15,000 for recycling, allowing environmental health and safety to fund a position to advance recycling right here on campus. We make a lot of things happen through our mobile app, FAMU Campus Services. It allows us to efficiently send information campus-wide for our partners, such as hours of operation, menus, and pricing. Students can even use the app to monitor the status of their laundry. This app helped us to have excellent preparedness and continued services from business and auxiliary staff and its business partners during Hurricanes Irma and Michael. Turning to the bookstore, or shall we say the newly renovated bookstore, with soft seating, a trade book section, and incredible merchandise, including Nike apparel. Our partner Barnes & Noble stepped up to provide $72,021 in textbook scholarships. And they worked with us on our first day program designed to make sure students in the School of Business and Industry are prepared for their classes on day one. The program resulted in a cost savings of over $48,000. A lot of those purchases and others are paid for using the Rattler ID card. That's why we implemented online photo submission for card production and eliminated much of the wait time. But we didn't stop there. We also automated the online meal plan sign-up process for faculty and staff. And our Rattler card staff got a brand new, larger office with self-service workstations for our customers, giving the staff greater efficiencies in operations. We help students manage their lives. That's why we are now selling shipping supplies and implemented high-density mail solutions so students can retrieve their mail faster. This has gotten the package pickup process down to an average of 48 seconds. We help them in their job hunting process by collaborating with our partner, Rico Management Services, to print their resumes for the Career Expo at no cost to the student. We also implemented the digital storefront and online print ordering system, and they even deliver. What would a university campus be without snack and beverage vending? Our vending machines now accept all forms of payment, and we installed multiple interactive machines with smart and healthy options all across the campus. Working with Refreshment Services Pepsi, we gave away up to $3,000 in scholarships toward educational expenses. At Business and Auxiliary Services, we're about the business and the services. Thank you for your support.
Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So you heard us talk about our FAMU campus services and the mobile app. So we would encourage everyone to download the mobile app, depending on what type of phone you have, and you'll see some of the things that you'll be able to see, track, and do with the campus mobile app that is created by FAMU's campus services. Next slide. A little bit about the meal plan and dining services. As you can see, all students residing in traditional residence hall will be required to sign up for a mandatory meal plan. Students residing in a non-traditional residence halls have the option to sign up for either a mandatory meal plan and or a commuter plan. And so more information on our meal plan and our meal plan prices when you go to our website. Our meal plan prices will be posted by tomorrow with the new prices for the upcoming school year, so we'll have that information for you as well. As you can see, our campus restaurant locations that are in our services as of right now. As you know, as we prepare for the upcoming year, all of our business partners will be practicing social distancing, as well as making sure that we are in compliance with the CDC, federal, local, state, and university guidelines as it relates to providing services here on campus. Next slide. I spoke earlier about our fall 20 and spring 21 meal plan. These are the meal plan types. We got our new meal plan prices approved. They will be posted for everyone to view and sign up for all the students who are currently registered and have room assignments. And so we'll have that information posted for you by the end of the week. Next slide. We introduced a new Grubhub concept for all of our dining platforms, our retail dining platforms. So as you can see, ordering through the Grubhub lets students order, or customers, period, not just students, order ahead from their favorite restaurants on campus that we will have up to for them. And so what happens is they'll be able to order in advance, because all of our retail locations will be order only, where we will be able to pick up your package or your meals or whatever you order once you come to the location. We are putting in some safety measures and practicing social distancing, and part of this new concept is for us to have this. So you'll be seeing this coming soon. Before you get to campus, you'll be able to download this app, have it on your phone, and you will be able to place your orders in advance in all of our retail locations. Our upstairs location in the main dining facility you will still have an option to dine in and/or pick up a prepackaged lunch, breakfast, or dinner during those periods. But for the most part, all of our retail locations that will be up and running will be order online only. Next slide. The Rattler cards. So you heard us talk about the Rattler card a little earlier. These are the services that the Rattler card office is responsible for. As I think what's most important for all parents and students and incoming students to know, that the Rattler card is your official ID card for the university, and these services are services that are provided via the Rattler card. There's an online photo submission process that allows you to submit your photo in advance, and then there are process for you to pick up your photos here on campus once you get to campus, and we'll be coordinating that with the new student orientation program that starts on August the 14th, 15th during that period of time. Next slide. Rattler Bucks, as you heard earlier, there's another way for you to add dollars to your ID card and spend it at some of our locations. You can see where you can make purchases at the bookstore, at the snack and vending machines, as well as any of our other retail locations that we have on campus. Next slide. So if you need to contact us, here's our contact information for our office and our email address. Feel free to reach out to us if you have questions or concerns. But again, on behalf of our Assistant Vice President, Rebecca Brown, our Assistant Director for Marketing, Technology, and Communications, Chastity Brown, and our Assistant Director for Operations, that's Mr. Kerry Brown, we'll welcome you to Florida A&M this upcoming August, and we're looking forward to providing you the best service we know how. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And next we'll have Ms. Tanya Tatum with Student Health Services.
Thank you, Ms. George, and I apologize to everyone. I had some technical difficulties earlier, but we've gotten them resolved. So I'm the Director of Student Health Services, and I really want to welcome all of you to Florida A&M University. We're looking forward to seeing you and hope you have a really wonderful and educational, informational time with us. I wanted to talk a little bit about some health and safety issues before we give you more information about the clinic. We are in the middle of a pandemic, and I want to make sure that everybody's aware that we have been working diligently to create as healthy of an environment as possible for all of our community members. And there's just some expectations that we have for everybody that's going to be on campus. And we really feel like everybody has some responsibility in trying to maintain some of our basic guidelines. And that's going to be our best protection for everybody there. So we're asking everybody to wear face coverings when they're in any of our buildings. And then also outside, if you're not able to maintain that social distance, that's 6 feet away from each other. That's going to be very, very important, because wearing those face coverings doesn't protect you, but it protects everybody else. Observing social distancing guidelines. I know it'll be exciting to be on campus and you want to greet everybody. My sister works at a school and her president goes with the Wakanda. And we're going to do elbow bumps and lots of other things. But let's hold off on the hugs for a little while until we get COVID-19 under control. We were asking everybody to wash their hands frequently with soap and to use hand sanitizer. We've done, our plant and facility staff have been doing an incredible job going through the entire campus. We've replaced, automated all of the fixtures in our bathrooms. Everything's automated. You don't have to touch anything. And we've got hand sanitizer located all over. So we really want to encourage people to utilize that as much as possible. We also encourage everyone to get tested for COVID-19. We are asking students that are coming to self-quarantine 2 weeks before your date to arrive on campus. It's going to be a tough one, but we really think it's going to be important for you to do that so that everybody is in a good space when they get there. And you can get tested. If you don't get tested at home before you come, you can get tested when you get hit to campus. We are actually operating a community testing site on campus at Bragg Stadium. We're open 6 days a week. It is free. And I'm there operating the facility, the site every single day. So there's no excuse not to at least know if you have COVID-19 or not. And I encourage students not to wait or to think you have to have symptoms in order to be infected with COVID-19, because we know that about 40% of the people that have it do not have any symptoms. So if you're not sure, come and get tested. It's really easy. And it's worth it. And you want to keep yourself safe. You want to keep your friends safe and healthy, and you want to keep your family safe and healthy. And then lastly, stay home if you're sick. If you've got any of the symptoms that are listed in the CDC guidelines, stay home, don't come to class, don't go to work. Call your employer or your professor and let them know that this is what's going on, and then contact a healthcare provider so that you know what your next steps should be. Next slide. Okay, so the Student Health Services, we operate a primary care facility on campus, and we have Florida licensed physicians and nurse practitioners, and we provide medical services similar to what you would get in your home community. We do immunizations, physical examinations, and that whole list we have there: acute injury, you fall and you sprain your ankle. We do family planning, we do STD testing, chronic disease management. So there's a whole host of services that we do offer to students. All students are charged a health fee, and that's $6.91 per credit hour, and that is what helps to operate the clinic and the Office of Counseling Services. So we're really invested in your being well and healthy so that you can attend and be successful in your classes. A couple of the other things that we do have a food pantry. Food insecurity is a big issue sometimes. So that is always available to students. And we try to make it very simple and easy. And that's been a big, a very popular program and service that we have. And we also do other health promotion activities. A lot of that will be going virtual this semester. But it's important that we work with students and that we hear from students about what makes their lives better, and we want to make sure that we're supporting them as much as possible. Next slide. There are two areas of health compliance that all incoming students need to be aware of. The first one is your immunizations, and hopefully all of you have already completed your health history and immunization form. It's a requirement for the state of Florida that you provide proof of MMR, measles, mumps, rubella immunization, and also hepatitis B and meningitis. And so that form is located on our website. You don't have to take the form to the doctor. If you have your information, if you have other documentation of having those immunizations, you can complete the history part of the form and then submit that along with the documentation for your immunizations. You can mail it, you can email it to my attention, you can fax it in. So there's lots of ways to get that information in. But just remember, and we need documentation of the actual immunizations, and then we need the completed health history form. So those are two things that have to be in place for that. If you do not complete that, there is a hold on your account and you won't be able to enroll in classes. So make sure you're checking your iRattler and your to-do list and making sure that that's not anything that's outstanding. The second compliance area is health insurance. All students that are full-time or more that are in the United States or that are on campus are required to have health insurance. You may carry health insurance through your family. If you do, that's wonderful. Parents, keep your students on your health insurance as long as possible. And we have an option, a way that you can opt out of the university-sponsored insurance. So if you have coverage through a parent or another family member, you may opt out of the university plan. All students get an email, several emails actually, and text messages letting them know of the deadline to let us know that they want to waive out of the university health insurance plan. The deadline for waiving is the drop add deadline. So it'll be the Friday of the first week of classes. Okay, everybody remember, the Friday of the first week of classes. That is your deadline to opt out of purchasing the university insurance. Please, the information to opt out will be located on our website next week, and we will have that available for you. And we'll also tell your students and students that are on the call, please check your email. We're going to send emails to whatever email you've put in iRattler. It might be a Yahoo or a Gmail. It'll also be your FAMU email account. Look for that information, and we'll take care of that at the beginning of the semester. And I believe that's all I have. Thank you, Veronique.
My pleasure, Ms. Tatum. Thank you. And next we'll have Ms. Karita Evans with the Office of Financial Aid.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hill. I'm the Assistant Director of Financial Aid, and I just wanted to go over a few things with you in terms of financial aid. As you see in the first slide, what is financial aid? Of course, it's gift aid, which is, of course, what we all want is the free money. That's grants and scholarships. Self-help aid is loans and work study. If you have work study awarded to you, you will be getting an email, usually around the second, third week in August, before the first week of school. Make sure that you read it thoroughly and follow all of the directions. Next slide. If you haven't done so already, you're late if you have not completed your financial aid application. All students are required to complete a financial aid application to be able to get federal or state funding. We've also implemented, if you're getting any scholarships from the university or anything outside of the university, you need to have a financial aid application completed. For the 2021 year, October 2019 was the first day. Our priority is January the 1st. There are several things that you need to complete. If it's on your to-do list, please make sure you're checking your iRattler regularly. Verification is one of those things that will stop you from getting awarded. Next slide, please. A lot of students say, well, I'm independent and I take care of myself. And sometimes we can agree with that, parents. But for the federal government purposes, you have to be one of these things to consider yourself as an independent student. The first thing, of course, is 24. That means you will be using your income tax information on their financial aid application every year until they're 24, unless one of these other options change. Next slide, please. There are three things I want you to remember. Your estimated family contribution determines whether you can get a Pell Grant or not. The Pell Grant then in turn decides and determines if you get any other grants that we offer. Second thing is your cost of attendance. Your cost of attendance is separate from how much you're being charged from the university. Your cost of attendance has other things in it besides just tuition fees, room and board. You can see that on your iRattler if you click on financial aid and view financial aid summary. Again, verification is a factor, I'm sorry. This is where you can fax verification to. You can mail it as well as email it to financialaiddocs@fmu.edu. Please do not send pictures. Please scan it and then email it to us. Next slide. How do we determine your cost of attendance and your estimated family contribution? You can again click on your cost of attendance by clicking on View Financial Aid. Click on the year of choice because you remember every single year you have to do a financial aid application. Click on View Financial Aid Summary and then Estimated Financial Aid Budget. The number will be blue. You click on it, it'll give you everything inside your cost of attendance / budget. Next slide. If you have a Bright Future Scholarship coming into the
Ms. Evans, we're going to move on to the next category until you come back on. So thank you so much for all that you've shared so far. Dr. Anika Fields, feel free to continue with information about the Counseling Center.
I'm sorry, I got.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Anika Fields, the Director of the Counseling Center. You can give me the next slide, please. The Counseling Center, just wanted to let you know that it's no cost for the student to come. Ms. Statham said that the Counseling Center is also funded by the health fee, so you don't have to worry about any money. You can just come. We have 8 licensed counselors or psychologists at the Counseling Center, and they are definitely ready to help. All of them have had a lot of experience working with students from freshman year all the way through graduate school. Our motto is here for you from orientation to graduation. So please keep that in mind. Next slide, please. These are the services that we offer. We see students in individual, group, couples, and the rest of those that you see. I do want to emphasize that at least for this semester, we will not be seeing any students face-to-face. We will still be providing all the services. We just won't see students face-to-face. Next slide, please. This is a self-help therapy service that we offer. It's called WellTrack. There's no cost to the student. They do have to, it's an app, and they do have to put in the app code. The app code is FAMU OCS, should be 2018 instead of 8888, if you can see that. But give us a call if you don't see that. We can give you that, that code. Self-help is a self-help with stress and anxiety, with depression, with resiliency, with public speaking. We know that people get anxious a lot when they have to speak in public. So there's some help there. It teaches you relaxation training, how to calm down and really get the job done. It teaches you how to deal with your depression or your anxiety over whatever is going on with you. There's also an assessment that students can take to determine how depressed or how stressed or anxious they are. And if the student registers with one of the counselors, let's say they're coming to counseling services and they register with one of the counselors, then we can also see when they take this assessment and if there's an alert, because WellTrack would notify us if they're really highly depressed or anxious, and we can give them a call. Next slide, please. Another service that we offer is called Well Connect. This is the after hours number for counseling. So if a student, say, was having some mental health issues, it was 3 o'clock in the morning, they would call this number. They would get to speak to a licensed counselor who would try to help them with whatever is going on, and then would also notify us by email and sending a report. And we would get that report through a secured system when we get in the next business day. A lot of times we also look at WellTrack over the weekend because we really don't know what might be going on. And what we try to do is to make an appointment for that student either to come in to see us the next business day, or if they really need to be seen then we try to refer them out for services that particular day. Next slide, please. We offer suicide prevention training. It's called QPR. Q stands for question, P persuade, and R refer. And what the training is about is that it educates people on the warning signs of suicide, and then how to question the person that you think may be suicidal, how to persuade them to want and get help, and also where you can send them or call in order to refer them. We try to get around to a lot of people during the both semesters, fall and spring, and also sometimes summer. We have we train people who are faculty, who are staff, and also who are students. So please, parents, tell your student about this so that they can also get trained in suicide prevention. Next slide, please. Everything that we do in the counseling center is confidential. By law, we cannot break confidentiality and tell anybody of what's going on with that student. That includes you too, parents. Since all sessions are confidential though, and by law, we cannot say anything, there are some exceptions by law. One is if there's any inclination that there may be child abuse going on, or abuse of the elderly, or abuse of someone who is disabled. Also, if the court says we have to send over documents, then we have to send over documents to the judge. The other exception would be if it's a matter of life or death. If the student is threatening to harm themselves or harm someone else, then we have to break confidentiality because we have to tell someone so that we can get help for that student. Next slide, please. These are some of the stressors or situations that students come in with that need help with. I'm just going to point out a few. One of the biggies is actually the number one biggie is anxiety. And it can be anxiety over a lot of things. They could actually have a clinical diagnosis of anxiety, or it could be based on academic issues or anything else that might be going on at the time. Depression is number two biggie here on campus. We get a lot of students in who are very depressed, and sometimes it may lead to feeling suicidal also. The other biggie would be relationships. Sometimes the students call them situationships. But all in all, with relationships, there are a lot of problems. Sometimes there are breakups, sometimes it's maybe some other problems, but we help students with that. Then the next biggie after that would be academic pressure or academic problems. All of these we deal with. We got a lot of students come in every semester with the things that I'm presenting here, but then there are others too. Next slide, please. These are some of the barriers to students seeking treatment. I want to hone in on that second bullet being afraid someone will find out and ridicule them. And then that third one, parents, friends, and other significant people talking against treatment. A lot of times students will say that they are afraid that someone is going to find out and call them crazy or something like that. Other times, and more times than that second bullet, is that they're afraid that their parents are going to find out. And they have felt this for a long time because they've had whatever's going on probably for a long time. And they've heard parents talk about that you don't need counseling. And I want to just say, if they really are telling you that they're feeling down, that they might want to try counseling, then they really do need to try counseling. And it's a good thing to do. The fear of hospitalization is real. And yes, we do hospitalize students who have severe mental health issues. And that's because we don't want them to hurt themselves. And that's because we do want them to get help. And the best way to do that would be for them to be hospitalized for a few days. Next slide, please. These are some of the things that you can do. If your student comes to you and say that I'm depressed, or I don't want to get up out of bed, or I'm very anxious, I'm having problems in school, stay calm, but you want to talk with your student and you want to listen. You don't want to interrupt. You don't want to say, well, all you got to do is pray about it. You're okay. Don't worry about it. Those are things that sort of deters them from coming to counseling sometimes, because they're going to think that you don't approve of them going. So what I would like for you to do is to encourage them to call us, and they can ask to speak to a counselor. A lot of times the receptionist would be able to answer their questions. I'd like for you to add our number to your contacts so that you can just pull it up and give it to them when they tell you they don't know where counseling is and they don't know what the phone number is. Just be there. Or you can call us yourself. You can also call campus police. You can call the Tallahassee Police Department if it seems real serious, and this is both if it seems real serious. But give us a call, 850-599-3145. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fields. And Ms. Evans, we're going to jump back to your presentation. Thank you. Ms. Evans, we're going to jump back to your presentation, and then we'll hear from Ms. Cotton in student accounts.
Thank you. Keep going. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. So we talked about the cost, attendance, and budget. Next slide. So we were mentioning Bright Futures, and like I was saying before, Bright Futures is tuition and fees based generated. If you have other aid, then all of that aid can go towards all of your total charges. Next slide. So students are going to be awarded subsidized and unsubsidized. They can accept those loans. Once they accept them on their RATTLER, they then have to do a master promissory note and an entrance counseling. I've talked to some of the students this week, and I've made it very clear that they need to discuss it with their parents if they decide to take out a subsidized or an unsubsidized loan. Next slide. And then the parents, of course, can take out a loan on behalf of the students. This particular Parent Plus loan for undergraduate students is credit-based. Parents, you will have to go to studentloans.gov, put in a sign-in, a username for yourselves, apply for it. If you're approved, then we will accept the Parent Plus loan for you in the financial aid office. It is grayed out. You cannot accept it yourself. If you get denied for that loan, then we can offer the student additional unsubsidized loans in their name if they so choose. They do have to do a loan request form for it. So again, that's something that we've asked students to speak with their parents about. Next slide. So right now, as a freshman coming in, this is how much they can borrow for a year, which is $5,500, subsidized is $3,500. The Parent Plus loan will go up to the student's cost of attendance. These are some of the available grants that we have that is based off of the Pell Grant first. They are not guaranteed. It is a first come, first served basis. Next slide. There is a limit to everything. There is a limit to the student borrowing loans. They can borrow up to $31,000 for 4 years. There's also a limit for students getting a Pell Grant. That is a 600% Pell Grant. That is, I'm going to give you an example, 100% for fall and spring, 50-50. If they go to summer, that's 50. They've already used 150%. So please make sure that they're paying attention, as well as yourself as parents, about how much they're borrowing and how much time they have left in terms of taking out a Pell Grant. Next slide. So don't lose your financial aid, please. This is how they can lose their financial aid. All the stuff that we talked about before is getting money in and using that towards your charges. But if they fall below a 2.0 after their spring semester as a freshman, they can lose their financial aid. If they are not earning 67% of all of their attempted hours, they can lose their financial aid. And when I say attempted, what I mean is after the first week of school is drop and add. That second week of school, they cannot drop and add any more classes. They can only withdraw from them. We will count anything that they have registered for and attempted after the first week of school. 67%, I'll give you an example real quick. If they get 12 hours in the fall, 12 hours in the spring, that's 24 hours. So by the end of spring, they should have earned 24 hours. If they have earned 12 out of 24, they are not earning 67%. Also, the last one is a student graduates with 120 hours. Financial aid gives up to 180 hours. So that's enough to get a bachelor's and a minor. So they have to make sure they're paying attention and they don't go over the required hours for their career. Next slide. You can contact Tracy Clark. He is our debt counselor. He will help your students plan a budget. He will also help your students and talk about financing, and he'll give them a little bit more information if they really want to know more about taking out any loans. This is his email address and his contact phone number. Next slide. We are here for you. This is our phone number. This is our fax number. If you want to mail or if you want to email our office, this is our email address. We're right now currently remote, but you can call us. You can also go out to our financial aid website, and on our financial aid website under contacts is all the representatives listed by alphabet. So if your last name starts with an O or an L, then you would email Ms. Evans. That is my alphabet. So if you want to go out to our website, which is famu.edu/financial aid, at the bottom on the left side, you can click contact us and you will see your representative there. Next slide. Please, please, these are the things that I need you to remember. October 1st, January 1st, know your school's process. Please check your FAMU email. If you don't need a loan, please don't take a loan. Apply for scholarships. If you go out to my financial aid website, I have a list of over 70 scholarships that students can apply for. If you need help, ask for help. Please do not pay anyone to do a financial aid application for you. And your education is an investment, so students should be planning. Next slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Evans. Next, we're going to have Ms. Costin with student accounts.
Good evening and welcome to the Hill. Today I'll be talking about student accounts, tuition and fees, the cost, our cash management area, refunds, and collections. Next slide. One of the most important things that I like to remind all parents, you must be on your student's FERPA in order for us to give you any information in reference to your student. And a lot of parents often call our office and say, well, I'm paying the bill, can't you tell me? But based on those federal guidelines, we cannot talk to you if your student has not put you on the FERPA, and that's a form located within the registrar's office. We have a book voucher program that is available for this semester, fall, will be August 17th through September the 4th. It allows students to put money on their Rattler card to be used at the university bookstore if their financial aid exceeds their university charges. And they can do that through iRattler and sign up online. Tuition and fees are always going to be due the 10th class day. If you do not pay your bill by that day for just the tuition and fee portion, you will be assessed a $100 late payment fee. If you have sufficient financial aid to cover, there's nothing that you need to worry about. But if your financial aid is covering less than your charges, you want to pay that difference by the 10th class day. Next slide. So I just wanted to give you a snapshot of what our tuition and fees consist of. Everything that I'm discussing will be on our website, but this lets you know the types of fees that will be on your student's bill. And so on August 1st, for all students that are registered, they will see their bill on iRattler for their tuition and fees. And as Dr. Wilder and Mr. Smith stated, you can check their websites for the housing and meal plan fees. Next slide. So what forms of payments do we take? So we take cash, checks, money orders, Visa, MasterCard, debit and credit. You can pay online by Visa and MasterCard with a $10 convenience fee per transaction. If you wish to mail a money order or cashier's check to our office, the address is located on the screen. If your student is receiving a private scholarship check, you would also mail that to the controller's office, and we will facilitate getting that information to financial aid. Next slide. So what about refunds? Any student whose financial aid exceeds their university charges will get a refund, only if it exceeds all their university charges. We strongly encourage all students to sign up for direct deposit. They can do that through iRattler by logging in and putting in their routing and bank information. You can provide the bank of your choice in the iRattler system. Any student that wishes to receive a check, it will be sent via US mail, and that can cause delays in you receiving it. All students are responsible for keeping up with their current mailing address. Next slide. So how do we make sure that students stay on task? We send emails and text messages weekly, letting students know what their balances are. So for the spring semester, a student can't register for the next term if their balance is greater than $500. If any parent or student works for the university or for the state of Florida, they can sign up for payroll deduction for their tuition and fees. Next slide. So we're located in Foothill Administration Center, room G7. We are open currently Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. if you wish to come in to make a payment. But we do encourage you to make payments online. All the information I've discussed is located on our website. And if you have any documents that you wish to submit, please submit them to studentaccounts.docs@famu.edu. Welcome to the Hill.
Thank you, Ms. Cotton. And thank you all for joining the presentation. And now we're going to open up the floor for questions. We'll begin with questions that were emailed to panelists before the workshop began, and then we'll take live questions. I'll kick those off. The first question is, what are the move-in dates?
The move-in dates are August 14th through August 22nd. Students need to sign up, but using the link for their particular building for a particular date and time, and they must move in within the time frame that they've signed up for.
Thank you, Dr. Wilder. Next question, what dates are parent orientation? Okay, we'll move on from that one. When will students choose their classes? Okay, we'll move on. Next question. When do freshman students receive Rattler cards, since new students who move on campus do so in mid-August?
Rattler, our pickup will be scheduled in conjunction with the fall move-in and the orientation dates, August 17th through the 21st. Please make sure that you have received your email notification confirming approval of your photo submission prior to pickup. Okay, the pickup location will be determined. We're still working through that.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And Chief Calloway, this question may be for you. Who assigns the operation ID?
Ooh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Who assigns the operation ID?
So what will happen is a student can contact the FAMU Police Department at 599-3256, area code 850, and ask us to come to their area, or they can come to us and we'll do the operation ID then. We also have it was set up in different housing areas where the student don't have to come to the police department because some of them do not have cars, so we'll come to them.
All right, thank you, Chief. And the next question may also be for you. Question is, do you still have the texting system that provides parents with emergency alerts to their phones? If so, how can we sign up for this service?
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. It's the Blackboard Connect service, and generally what happens, or what this parent can do, or a student, they can go on the FAMU main webpage, scroll all the way down to the bottom. In the right-hand corner, you'll see Blackboard Connect. Click on that. Do not download it. Just put in your email. It'll send you an email, and you just follow those steps. Once you put the information in, you will now be a part of the Rattler Blackboard Connect presentations.
Thank you, Chief Calloway. Next question may be for Dr. Wilder. Will students be able to bring a vehicle on campus?
That's actually a question for Chief Calloway.
I knew you was gonna give me that, Doc. Yes, students are allowed to bring vehicles. We've also, because of COVID this year, we've allowing freshmen to now bring their cars on campus as well. Just make sure that they register their cars though.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Dr. Wilder, this may be for you. The person wants to know if you can provide information about the renovation for Pattyfoot. They previously heard that it would be offline due to some repairs that need to be made.
I actually answered the question in the chat, but I'll share what I said. There was extensive renovations done to Pattyfoot for the 1920 year. And we had planned to close Pattyfoot and two other buildings for the 2021 academic year. When the decision was made that we would move to all single rooms, we did an assessment of the buildings and we decided to reopen Pattyfoot and Truth. All decisions were made with the well-being of our students as our #1 priority.
Thank you, Dr. Wilder. This may also be for you. Will it be only freshmen on campus this fall?
No, we have all classes living on campus.
Follow-up question, what happens to students' room assignment if they decide to return from home before the semester ends in November?
The contract is for the academic year. So if a student decides to cancel their housing in November before we close for on November 25th, they will be breaking their contract and they will be subject to a cancellation fee.
Thank you. And housing again, are students required to leave and check out all of their belongings by November 25th, or can they leave items with anticipation of returning in the spring?
No, they do not have to check completely out in November. This is just like it would be when we closed in December and it was the break time. Winter break is just starting early. So they need to take their computers, the books they need to finish up the last 2 weeks of classes, medication, those kinds of things. They need to take those things home with them, but they may leave the rest of their belongings in anticipation of returning in the spring.
Got it. This one is also a housing question. It's from a student this time, and they would like to know, I am assigned to the village. Is there a way for me to get in contact with my roommate? I was given her name, but no contact information.
At this time, the best method is to do social media, to try to contact their roommate via social media. I did tell the student that if she wished to pursue the other option, she could contact our office privately, because I didn't want her putting her information in the chat. And then we will discuss that with her.
Okay, thank you so much. Ms. Tatum, this may be for you. How will you govern students going in and out of their rooms and on campus? And for the village in particularly, even with being in their own room, do students still share a common kitchen and living room with other students? And what about students wanting to visit one another in their own rooms in the village?
I actually think I'm going to toss this back to Dr. Wilder. I think she probably has more information on the rules of visitations in the residence halls.
There is no visitation for this academic year. We are working out the final details, so students will receive specific information when they come, when they arrive in their buildings. In terms of the village, students share a suite, so there are 2 single rooms that share a bathroom, but there are no kitchens in the village, and not really what you call a living room. There is a reception lounge area. There are community rooms, but we will have guidelines about how many people can be in there when, and those you have to make reservations or contact with the RA in order to be able to use them. So we will be able to monitor that.
Thank you, Dr. Wilder, and it seems like you are in the hot seat tonight. I have a lot of questions coming your way. The next one is there is there a cancellation fee for housing? Is that actually the loss of the deposit?
It depends on when we receive the cancellation form. It's date specific, so I'm not able to just answer that as a general question.
Got it. And next one, if a student decides to defer, do they contact admissions?
Are they deferring admissions to the university, or are they deferring housing?
That's a great question, and that wasn't specified.
If they're deferring housing, they need to contact us. And like if they're saying, I'm going to come to school for the fall, but I'm going to do it remotely and stay at home, but I have a housing assignment, they need to contact our office. If they're talking about deferring admission, they need to talk to the admissions office.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Evans, this question may be for you. The user wants to know, when will students be awarded Bright Futures?
We're looking to award Bright Futures the 2nd week in August.
Okay, we have another financial aid question. The user wants to know, they have emailed their daughter's financial aid contact with 4 questions. And what is the turnaround time for responses?
We ask for 24 hours to respond.
More financial aid questions coming your way. Do students have to take 12 or 15 hours to qualify for financial aid?
Financial aid is based on hours. You can be a part-time student and have 6 hours and still get financial aid. You can have 12 hours and still get financial aid. So it just depends on what you're registered for and what you're eligible for from your financial aid application.
Thank you so much. Ms. Cotton, this may be for you. Are freshmen allowed to do a payment plan, and when is the deadline for that?
Freshmen can pay online or come in the office and make payments throughout the term. We will be launching a new payment plan official service, but that will be starting in September. So please stay tuned.
Few more questions for student accounts. Next one is, what is covered in the transportation and access fee?
I would defer that question to Chief Calloway.
Thank you, Dee. So I answered the question in the chat. So basically what the transportation fee covers is students get ridership with the Tallahassee Star Metro bus. They also get, if they have a vehicle, their registration of their vehicle is included in their transportation fees, and also the shuttle services on campus is covered in their transportation fees.
Thank you, Chief Calloway. Dr. Wilder, are there refrigerators in the village dorm rooms?
No, students will need to bring their own refrigerators. They cannot be larger than 4 cubic feet.
Thank you so much. Ms. Cotton, this may be for you. If a student's loan exceeds the university charges, will those excess fees be sent to the student or back to the lender?
The funds will be sent to the student. However, if the parent takes out a Parent Plus loan and that creates the excess, those funds will go to the parent.
Thank you so much. Dr. Collins, this may be for you. Will the slideshow be available after this session is over?
Yes, the slideshow will be available on our Facebook page, Rattler Parent Engagement Program.
Thank you, Dr. Collins. Dr. Wilder, will there be housekeeping for bathrooms, and how often?
Our housekeepers clean our traditional halls where there are community baths every day. The suite bathrooms and the apartment bathrooms, it is the student's responsibility to clean them themselves.
Thank you so much. And will there still be an in-person orientation?
In-person orientation sessions are, they will be canceled. There will be more information forthcoming. So parents and students should be on the lookout for that information as early as next week.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Littleberry, and this may be for you as well. A student is asking, I've had great difficulty getting in contact with my advisor. Are any additional classes being added for freshmen? A lot of classes that they wanted a week ago are now filled.
So courses for freshman students, not all the courses for freshman students were posted because we knew we had orientation sessions that would go further into August. So the students should speak with their advisor. If they have attended orientation, then they should have already spoken with their, attended a group advising session, which is held each Friday. If they recently completed orientation for this week, then they should be scheduled to attend the orientation, the group advising session on tomorrow, where they will get more information about advising, the process of advising, what advising entails, and then they will have an appointment to register with their advisor next week.
Thank you. Next question. How will my daughter know if she has a personal box number? She has emails with no response.
I think Mr. Sue, I don't see him. We will let me do some checking and I'll follow up on that question shortly.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Littleberry. And moving on to the next question, is it mandatory for freshman parents to attend orientation?
The orientation is designed for students in regards to their academic selection of courses. we encourage the support of parents, but the academic advising session orientation is specifically designed for our scholars.
Thank you, Dr. Edwards. Ms. Tatum, this may be for you. How will students social distance in the cafeteria? And how can social distance be enforced with all kids back on campus? Lastly, will students be prevented from leaving campus to minimize bringing COVID back to campus?
You may have to remind me of a couple of those questions.
No problem.
We have been working very hard with all of the areas on campus, and we have made changes in the arrangements and the number and amount of seating that's available in the cafeteria. So there will be fewer seats available. It'll be more spread out. So we are strictly enforcing social distancing in all of our facilities and our services. So that is that will be in place and will be enforced. The next question, what was it, Frederick?
It was, will students be prevented from leaving campus to minimize bringing COVID back to campus?
Well, I'm the health director. I would love to be able to do that. However, we really don't control what students do. I think our approach is really going to be to educate students as much as possible on the risks that there are with traveling in certain locations, and the steps they need to take to make sure that they protect themselves and try to avoid becoming infected with COVID-19. But I don't think Chief is prepared to stop everybody trying to leave campus.
We're not. We are not.
Good point. Thank you, Ms. Tatum. Next question from a student. Dr. Wilder, this may be for you. How are we supposed to know which days to choose to move in if we don't know if we will be having an in-person orientation?
I think Ms. Littleberry will have to help with helping them figure out what their orientation is going to be if it's not in person. It was based on the date, so without knowing exactly where they're assigned, it's hard for me to answer that.
So I think there will be, again, more information forthcoming. We just made this decision today, so we have not had an opportunity to reach out to our partners in university housing. We will do that shortly. And like I indicated earlier, the information will be coming out next week.
Thank you, Dr. Wilder. Ms. Littleberry. Next question may be for Mr. Smith. How will Rattler cards be issued to remote students?
For the remote students, they will need to contact the Rattler card office. They will be able to get their credentials because some of them will need to get access to, I guess, library resources. So they go to the rattlercard.fanu.edu, and they will be able to access their new ID cards that way. The Rattler card office will assist them with getting their ID, so they'll be able to have their ID card and their credentials that they will need in order for them to be able to use the services.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Ms. Cotton, this may be for you. If a student decides not to come prior to the school year, is the cancellation fee the deposit?
For the housing, I would defer that to Dr. Wilder. The admissions deposit is non-refundable.
Thank you so much.
Repeat the question again, please.
Yes, ma'am. If a student decides not to come prior to the school year, is the cancellation fee the deposit?
It depends on what day we receive it.
All right. Thank you. Dr. Wilder, this may be for you as well. How are we supposed to know which day to choose to move in? We've answered that question, so we'll move forward. Mr. Smith, this question may be for you. What is the app mentioned for on campus, meals/plans and for student services? I'm not sure if I understand. Let me repeat that. What is the app mentioned for on-campus meal plan student services?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay.
But there is another question that was in the chat box about how will eating in the cafeteria work. So if students are limited to eating in the dining hall, will they be able to come back in if they want to get seconds? So in our main dining facility in the Student Service Center upstairs, there will be a breakfast period, there will be a lunch period, and there will be a dinner period, okay? And students will be able to come during that period to eat lunch, breakfast, or dinner. During the time that they are physically in that location, should they choose to remain there while they're eating, of course, you know, we'll be practicing social distancing. There won't be as many seats and chairs that there have been in the past because we're taking the measures to make sure we create a safe environment. So during that particular period that they're there, if they get a plate and then they want to get served another plate, they can eat, right, during that period. So they'll be able to eat their breakfast during the breakfast period. When they leave and come back, they'll swipe their card for the lunch period. If they leave and come back, they'll swipe their card for the dinner period. So that's how that process will work. And remember, we do have at all of the retail locations, there is the Grubhub ordering app that we will have in place for students to do the pre-ordering and customers period to do pre-ordering prior to them coming to pick up their meals that will be takeout only.
Mr. Smith, I believe that the previous question was in reference to your presentation. In your presentation, you mentioned that there was an app that students could download. And so I believe the previous question is in reference to that app, the name of the app.
Okay, it's the BAS Service Campus app. So if you go to Google Play, or if you have an Android, you can download the Business Services app on your phone. That's what that is. It's campus services, excuse me. I said business services, but it's campus services.
Thank you, Mr. Smith and Ms. Littleberry. We have time for one more question, and all of the other questions will be answered on the Facebook page. So lastly, we'll wrap with, how do we find what the terms are for our loans?
So with your student loans, you would go to studentloans.gov. There you would find out the rates as well as all terms, rights, and responsibilities. Remember what I said in the slide, and you might not, but when you actually take out a loan, you do have to sign a master promissory note. You also have to do an entrance counseling. That entrance counseling is also terms and responsibilities.
Thank you, Ms. Evans, and thank you so much for joining everyone. Now we'll wrap with Dr. Collins.
Thank you all again for joining us this evening. We want to thank our panelists for taking time out of your evening to join us and answer questions. We will take all of the questions that were received in the chat, and we will answer those questions and post them on our Facebook page. That page is Rattler Parent Engagement Program. Also, this presentation is being recorded, and you can go there to access the presentation as well. So thank you, parents, for joining us. You all have a good evening.